what have you been doing? So of course we were in contact because you're my student, but what have you been doing this last 18 months? Tell me.
So 18 months ago would pretty much place me where I first met you, where you came to my college and gave a seminar about career abroad, education abroad. After that, I have prepared for my GMAT with your help. Prepared for my GMAT, prepared my essays, prepared for my interview, and I applied to two universities, Essec and HEC, for the MIM program, and I got into Essec. Um, I have been at Essec for the last 3.5 months now.
Hmm?
So the journey it's been spectacular.
By the way, I can see that you have roughly the same room as Pranay. So Pranay is
Yes,
your neighbor. Is he far
yes,
from you?
that's true. He actually lives around 3 blocks away, but yeah, the
Okay,
same building.
same building. And of course, it's funny because as you know, I met Pranay in Pune as well because at that time, Pranay was in Pune,
Hmm.
and then he moved back. I don't know where. Um, so so can you please tell us how different? So you're a student from MIT VPU, huh? MIT VPU.
Yes.
So please can you tell us how different is MIT VPU from ESSEC? The approach, the students, the motivation. Tell me, how do you feel? How different is it?
So, of course, the greatest difference would come from the student body itself.
Hmm?
Um, in MITWPU in Pune, it's all Indians. All of them, you're familiar with their culture. But over here, 40% are French, 20% are Indians, 20% are Chinese, remaining 20% from all over the world. So
Yeah.
you see a clear difference from there. Second is the approach. Their approach is also very different. I believe this is something that is different, very from Europe itself, not just France or not just Essec, but the European style of teaching. Their approach towards teaching is very different. They are more focused on telling us the concepts, whereas we have to follow up on the, let's say, our doubts, and let's say the more finish for the required for the topic. Whereas in India, we are actually just focus more on practice. So there's a clear difference in approach. It's interesting.
Okay. And in terms of motivation, students have a different motivation. Is it more competitive at ESSEC or they're all the same?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So
Can
in
you
terms
repeat?
of motivation, do you find the students have a different type of motivation, different ambitions in life, or it's the same?
Oh no, they're the same.
Okay, the same.
Yeah.
And in terms of teaching style,
Pitching style is they give a lot more focus over here. So they give a lot more importance. You can see the clear difference in how they pitch and the quality of the pitch um, compared to my previous institution.
okay. So can you be more specific, Neil?
The pitching, if I had to say, then here compared to Pune, where I didn't really get training in that aspect, here they give a lot of focus to it. They have clear sessions, they have career sessions where they teach you how to pitch, and it's very important because if you don't pitch well, unlike Pune, where it's easy to get a job but hard to get a great job. You see, there's a lot of competition for the highest positions, but otherwise, it's not hard to get a job. Over here, it's a lengthy process. From the moment you start applying, even for the natives, it takes a few months before they get a job. So
Yeah.
to them, the process is more important. The pitch is important. The interview process is longer. There are a lot more stages, so it's more structured, and the pitch is it's different.
Okay. And so can you tell me about a typical week?
Sorry.
How you, can you please tell us about a typical week?
I didn't catch. Can
What
you?
is a typical week at ESSEC from Monday to Sunday?
Oh. So the courses here are the course itself. The program itself is very flexible. So we are free to choose the courses we want. We can take as many depending on uh, how much let's say how like how free you want your time, you can take more courses.
Yeah.
So the courses themselves are divided into three time slots: 9 to 12, 1:15 to 4:15, and 4:30 to 7:30. So as
And you
long
have
as they're not
seven
clashing,
slots every day.
every day, Monday to Friday, yes.
It's
And
a yeah.
yeah, and as long as they're not clashing, you can take any course you want. So I personally, in my week, I have got 1 3-hour session per day. It's on busy time slots, so no fixed timing like that. But Monday to Friday, I have one session a day, and the rest of my time is free time that goes in either sports or networking or just communicating with others.
Okay. And a typical day, at what time do you wake up? Tell me.
Typically, I wake up around 7:30 to 8.
Mm.
It's only on Thursday I have a class at 9 o'clock in the morning, so on those days I wake up a bit earlier. But otherwise, 7:30 to 8 I wake up, and I'll get started with various activities. I may play my guitar as well. Typically, my class would be at 1:15, so then I would have lunch and go to class. 4:15 my class would end. I would be back around 5:30 after talking with everyone, and then I would make my dinner, have dinner, then decide what to do.
Okay. And so do you interact with what about the Indian community? Do you interact with
Yes.
the Indian community?
Yes. So as I said, the Indian community here is huge. With 60 out of the 60% that is international students, 1/3 of that is I find that it is Indians. So that's a huge group. This is specifically for the MIM program, by the way. In the other programs like sustainability or masters in finance, the ratio is much lower, much smaller. So for
Is
the
it a good news
MIM,
for you, or you're not too happy to say I'm with so many Indians, or what do you think? Is it a good news? Were you happy when you found out that there are so many Indians?
I wasn't particularly happy or sad about it. I expected a lot more international students, that is, from my perspective, non-Indians. I expected a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think when you come to
foreigners.
ESSEC, you expect to see Americans, French,
Yes,
Japanese,
I
Brazilian.
expected to see a larger body representing those groups,
Hmm?
but 20, like a good part of that turned out to be Indians. I'm happy to see Indians, um, and but not particularly happy thinking about the course.
What do you mean by this?
When a huge selling point to me when I was applying to ESSEC was the exposure to the various cultures of the world. I from the way they from my impression of the course, I was aware that 40% would be French, but I expected the remaining 60% to be very diverse.
Yeah.
But turns out of this remaining 60%, 1/3 is Indians and 1/3 is Chinese. So while I do get a lot of exposure to various cultures, um, it also turns out that a huge part of my interactions is with Indians and Chinese.
Okay.
Of course, French as well.
And in your building, for instance, who lives in your building? It's foreigners, and yeah, there's a big chunk of Indians, I guess. No.
Yes.
Okay. So did you have time did you have time to visit Paris, to enjoy France, to travel a bit abroad? Can you please tell me?
I have not visited abroad yet. I kept that for the vacations. So this Christmas vacation, I'll be going to Germany,
Okay.
and in
Did you have
January I'll
friends
be
there?
going to Italy. Yes,
You have
I have
friends
friends
there?
there.
Yeah.
I have friends and relatives there. So I'll be going to Germany in for Christmas, and in Italy in January. But Paris itself, I have been there quite a few times. I have been there at various time slots as well. So I have very much enjoyed the culture of Paris. I have not had the chance to visit various parts of France yet, so I will be doing that.
Very soon, huh, I guess.
Mm.
Uh, so, um, so tell me now, what are your plans post MIM need?
So MIM is a very flexible course, and they have a set of requirements for you to graduate, and their requirement is that you cover this set within 4 years. So actually, you can drag this course to 4 years long, and there are quite a few students who are in their fourth years right now. Typically, it lasts 2 years. I personally am going to, I see myself doing it over 3 years, wherein the first year I would be doing just courses.
Hmm?
Starting next July or September, I will start internships and I will do internship for an entire year. And then I will find an apprenticeship. That is my current plan in
So
finance.
apprenticeship on your two, yes, and you agree that it's a very good thing to do, huh? To spend 3 years because you're sure that after these 3 years you can
Yes.
find a job in Europe and you can sell a true experience in Europe. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if you remember, but Nama has a
Yes.
team that is struggling more, from what I understand, in London, because you can imagine they start in August, in September they have interviews. If you fail the interviews, you have no job, and then they finish late May. So it's
Yeah.
very fast. You agree?
One
Huh?
year course. That's right.
Yeah.
Very intense as well.
It's very intense, and if you fail September, October, you're done.
Mm.
Because you know that but you have the 3 years to find a job, and usually the place where you do your apprenticeship will be the place that will give you a job,
To be a job. Yes.
and it will be a big change.
Right.
Tell me, you didn't have time to introduce yourself, so can you please introduce yourself more in terms of who
Ah,
you are? At the same time, you have we had fun together when you told me that you called Neil Powell because it doesn't sound very Indian. You told me about your story, how international you are, your education, your career, and your hobbies and leadership activities. Can you please tell me more in 5 minutes who you are for
yeah,
the
sure.
for the students?
Yeah. So my name is Neil Pavel. I am 21 years old. I just graduated from my bachelor's in commerce from Pune, MIT WPU. My interests, professionally, career-wise, my interests lie in finance, and my MIM is also focused on finance. So I'll be uh, furthering my goals towards finance sector specifically. Um, my hobbies academically lie in sports. I play various sports: basketball, football, table tennis, badminton, and guitar. I'm an avid musician. I play the guitar at least 2 to 3 hours a day. I have
Even now,
performed in band.
and your
Yes.
neighbor says nothing, huh? And your
No.
neighbor
When
doesn't
I came here, I
complain
did
or
not have a guitar, but within a week of coming here, I borrowed a guitar from a friend, and within a month of coming here, I bought my own guitar. So I
hey,
have.
so the first and you miss guitar, huh? For 3 weeks without playing guitar.
Yes.
And how do
Yes.
you do for the sound? You go somewhere or you play guitar in your studio?
I play in my studio. Only once I performed at Essec itself. It was an Indian event for Diwali. Diwali,
Okay.
we had a huge celebration here because we have
Maybe
such
so
a
with all
large.
the Indians that you have in at ESSEC,
Yes,
Diwali must be
exactly. Because we have such a large student body, we had a very organized procedure and well organized procedure for the
yeah,
Diwali.
plus if they brought their friends, so you are easily 500, 600.
Yes, yes.
Um, so tell me, so that's the thing that you play. You miss your family? They will come to see you. What's the plan?
I do miss them. I cannot meet them right now. My father works in the merchant navy, so he works on ships. And now, for the first time, both me and my brother are away from home,
Hmm?
which would leave my mother alone at home for the first time. So this time, my mother decided to join my father on the ship. So they're traveling the world. They won't be they won't be visiting me right now.
Okay. So but they will come at sunset. I remember that you have a motorbike. Did you have time to drive your motorbike, or do you intend to buy a motorbike in France, or what's your plan?
No, as of now, I have no intention of buying transport. The public transport infrastructure over here is very good, well, except for the occasional strikes. But otherwise, it's very good. I have no intention of driving here anytime soon.
Okay. But you see, it's not very dangerous to drive on motorways in France. I think it's you should try. Huh?
Yes, it's true.
It's somehow
They
safe.
also give a lot of respect to two-wheelers and pedestrians. So um, this is one thing. This was actually my greatest culture shock after coming from India, because back in India, it's always the vehicles have the right of way, and you stop for the vehicles. It's also more dangerous for you, so naturally you stop. But over here, even if the vehicles are going at 100, kilometers per hour, they'll come to an abrupt stop if they see a pedestrian wanting to cross the road. So it's a very nice thing. They give that much respect, so it's much safer for the pedestrians and the two-wheelers also.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Tell me, last thing, it's about the admission process. So what, how does it work? And in general, and how does it work to get into ESSEC? What is the admission process for ESSEC? And what are the
So
critical aspects?
ESSEC has got 4 rounds for admission. I believe the first one starts in November and approximately. It starts with basic, like you fill your details. They have a very well structured site and format for filling your details up. You fill your details. The primary components, the main components of this application is one, your GMAT. Um, I believe they give a good amount of weightage to your GMAT. Second is your essays, and third is your CV.
Mm.
So um, essays, there will be a few questions, around 4 questions, I believe, 4 to 5 questions on your personal, uh, let's say, values and life experiences. And after all this, you will be shortlisted for an interview. The interview will last exactly 45 minutes. There will be a panel of 3 members. One would be a faculty, one would be an alumni, and one would be a current student. These three would ask you questions pertaining to your CV, your work, which includes all your work experience and your co-curricular activities, and your essays or specific things you've said in your essays. They are not looking for, um, let's say, a very glorified uh, CV or an essay. They are, that's what the interview is for. They are looking for how truthful you are. So just be honest on your essays and uh, be consistent in the interviews.
Okay. Very good. What tips would you give?
I'm sorry, your voice is
What
it's
tips?
cutting.
What tips would you give to? What tips would you give to someone who wants to go for a master in management? Tell me. What piece
Uh,
of advice would
first tip,
you, Neil?
first tip would be start working on your essays right from the beginning. They give you direction in exactly what you want to do and if the masters in management is actually the right fit for you. So start working on them right from the beginning. In fact, I would say that's the first thing you should work on. And it's not the first thing you should finish. It's going to take you a while to finish them properly. So take your time to do it, but start working on your essays first. Second is your GMAT. GMAT is still considered important, especially for the reputed universities, because they use that as a benchmark to eliminate students. So be sure to do well on your GMAT. Prepare well for that.
So yeah, I agree
GMAT or
with you.
GMAT
GMAT is
doesn't have to
determined
be.
a lot. Huh? If you have
Yeah.
600, it's not the same as having 605. It's not the same as
Mm.
having 705. Okay, and in your
Yes.
case, that's very good GMAT. Of course, when you gave me your GMAT score, I knew that everything would be possible. By the way, you applied both to HEC and ESSEC, so you got ESSEC. Did you get an interview with HEC or not even an
No,
interview?
no, I did not get an
Not an
interview with
interview
them.
with the score that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the competition is fierce, probably. Yeah.
Mm.
So after the GMAT, so you have the application. What piece of advice do you give to get for the application?
After the GMAT and application would come your interviews.
Yeah, no,
For
but
inter
for the application itself, the CV, the transcript, the essays, the letters, what are the do and don'ts? And what would you advise?
the
Hello, can I get you?
hello.
I lost you. Yeah, yeah. Go
Um,
ahead. Yeah,
I can't hear you clearly. Your voice keeps cracking. I can't get
yeah,
half
yeah,
the
yeah.
words that you're saying. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So what would you advise to for the application itself, for the CV, letters, essays? What would you advise?
As I stated, you have to start preparing it right from the beginning because
Yeah.
if you start later, you you don't realize it before you start preparing on it for it, but they're not as easy as they look, especially when you have to write a few hundred words essays. And especially if you want good essays, structured essays that really grab the attention of the institution, you have to prepare it right from the beginning. Don't leave that for the end. I think that's the most important point because most of the people, including me, unfortunately, I started preparing for the essays too late, right after my GMAT, in fact. So I think that's the wrong approach. I think you should start preparing for your essays from the beginning, and GMAT should start after that and go alongside it.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you told us about the interview and about financing. So it's a question that people have, and it's of course it's difficult when you come from non-European countries, even more difficult. So, what are the obstacles of financing? How did you finance the program? What would you advise there?
So for when it comes to financing, the best way to finance it would be if you have a financial guarantor here in France. I spoke to one Indian who is working part time at a restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant is French. So the French owner has guaranteed his loan, and the interest rate on loan in France is much lower than India. So that is the best way to finance it. I personally financed mine solely through savings, father savings. I have not taken any loan out.
Yeah.
Um, Indian loans are a bit expensive. I believe the interest rate would be around 10% or 11%. Prodigy Finance is good because the repayment schedule starts after you start earning, or let's say after the course ends. So the burden of it lies on yourself. It doesn't lie on your parents. So Prodigy Finance is good like that. For the next best thing is apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is a work study contract with three parties: you, the college, and the company, wherein you work and study at the same time based on the negotiation that between the three parties. Uh, the company will pay you a stipend as well as pay your fees. If you take a 1 year apprenticeship, it would be half of the fees for Essec. If you take a 2 year apprenticeship, then it's the entire fees. So that is the best way, but that is something that for most people you can only do after the first year. So you still have to think of financing for the first year.
Okay. So most difficult is this first year and maybe the third year. And the second year would be easy to finance, and the second year may
Second
be difficult. The third
second
year,
year would be relatively easier because second year it's almost almost everyone here for the second year does one of two things, either internships or apprenticeships. So if you get an apprenticeship, then you're directly recovering the amount that you paid, or you're saving. If you do internship, then at least your living costs would be covered up. So then all you have to pay for is the tuition fees. Me personally, I don't have much work experience. I am much younger than the average age of people in this course. So I've decided to take my time to go to over 3 years. So second year I will do internships, and third year I will do internship apprenticeships.
Yeah, so it's a very good thing to do. So piece of advice that you believe to Indian applicants and applicants in general.
One very important point is be prepared to learn French. Don't the course is entirely in English. You would be taught in English for sure, but if you want job, then you need to be fluent in French, especially if you want to do any consulting job or any corporate finance job or marketing job where you have to interact with clients. They expect you to be fluent in French, not that you know French. You need to be fluent. But that's
And
something that you can.
next year, you intend to be fluent by next year?
By next year, not entirely. By third year, sure. I intend to be fluent in French by
Of
third
course,
year.
if you have spent 1 year studying and then another year working, or after 2 years, you will speak pretty well. Okay.
Yes.
And of course, that's the condition. If you want to stay in France after that. Yeah.
Yes. Because also one more point is that, as I said, 40% still the majority of the class is French students. So if you want to interact well with them, you have to know French, because the French are in their home country. You can't expect them to be fluent in English. You can't expect that. You are coming to France, so you should learn French.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
So it's a very good thing to see. I would hope that I would be able to come to see you. I would like to come to see you, Yash, Pranay,
Aryan.
Ariane, Yash, you, Pranay. There's another girl I wanted to see. I forgot her name. But I would ask Pranay to organize something, a lunch, pretty soon before you leave. Maybe we could have like a Christmas lunch together in December. You have class until when?
My last exam is on 21st December.
Hey, bro.
Mm.
So
It
let's try
depends
to.
on the courses. Due to the excessive flexibility, it's very varied for most students. I know a person whose final exam is on 13th December. So it's very varied. It might
But
happen.
Yash. You know Yash. Your
I
friend
know
of
you. Yes,
So
I know you.
I would ask Ariane, or maybe I can ask Pranay to organize something.
Yes.
He's a nice guy, and we go from there. So I wish you a good day. Thank you very much, Neil, because I thought that I had lost your contact. So when I was writing to you, but let's meet either early in December, early in January, or before Christmas, if it's still possible. Because you will stay in Europe. You go to Germany, from what I understand.
Yeah. For Christmas, I will be in Germany. I should leave by 24th. I haven't finalized the dates yet. But for Christmas, I will. I'm sorry, but I'll definitely be in Germany.
Okay.
But before 24th, sure.
Maybe let's try to meet the 26th.
Yeah.
We'll
Sure.
come to see, because I have a house not far from, or maybe I will see if I can invite you even at home. Huh? It was nice to talk to you, Neil. And
Yes.
if you need anything, don't hesitate to contact me.
Of course. Yes.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bye.
Have a good day.